Hello, good morning everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Today we are presenting webinar on Are You Ready for the Success? Organized by Applied Science and Humanities Department of Parul Polytechnic Institute, Parul University. The main agenda of this webinar is to discover how we can be ready for success and be equipped to face the challenges ahead by using the open framework. I, Vaishali Nathwani, would like to introduce today's guest speaker, Lynette Hell. She has over 20 years working experience with corporations focused in the oil and gas, IT and telco and head hunting industry based in Singapore. Her geographical spread includes four key continents: Asia, Europe, Middle East, and Americas, with its domain expertise in account management, sales and marketing, and human resource management. She has led multicultural teams, driven global business initiatives, and has represented her organization among the oil and gas majors of the world. Introduced to mindfulness about 7 years ago, it changed her life as she realized everyone has a choice. We just need to realize and be aware of where we are in this choice. As an ICF coach, that is International Coaching Federation, a certified coach, she coaches corporate executives to rediscover their greatness in the VUCA environment so that they can be at the best version of themselves and achieve an integrated work or family life and be credible, effective leaders. On a mission to help those in need help themselves, she dreams of an equitable world of opportunities and empowers recognizing that the origins of poverty are not just circumstances but also a limiting mindset. It's a privilege to welcome you, ma'am, and we can start with the session.
Thank you very much, Vishali, for your introduction. I think I first and foremost, I'd like to thank Parul University for your invitation. And I understand you are celebrating that this is the 50th webinar that you are holding for your students, and it truly befits, what we call as in Singapore, lifelong learning, right? Where people come together to continuously learn, share, and more importantly, be on that lifelong learning journey of continuous learning. So thank you very much for welcoming me to your group and for sharing this with me again, sharing your platform with me. So without further ado, let me go on to the next slide. All right, so a very brief introduction about myself and who am I, and then just to run through the agenda for today. We are living in a VUCA environment, in a VUCA world. So the question now is in everyone's mind is success possible? And how do you actually achieve success? And are you ready to be successful, I guess is the question. So what will happen today is I would like to share with you how I have actually used a framework of what I call the open concept, the open framework, to drive through how you can be ready for success using my own personal story. And then, of course, after that, we will open to questions and answers. And please feel free to ask me any questions that you may have. I will be happy to assist to the best that I can. Okay, so go on to the next one. Now, I think there is a bit of a lag on the slides, but let me go on to the next. So a very brief introduction, in addition to what Vishali had shared earlier. I am a mompreneur. I'm a mom of three. My eldest I have a girl and two boys. They are 17, 16, and 10. I'm also an ICF certified coach for peak performance and team leadership as well. So all these actually and leading a successful private coaching practice. And through my journey, when I first started, I was, as Vishali mentioned, I was actually doing account management for the oil and gas majors of the world. So I was focused on the downstream consulting area. And I'm actually a trainer turned facilitator. When I say that, it's because I've actually started coaching as infiltrated kind of into my life, because positively, because it's actually changed the way I conduct my trainings, and the feedback has been wonderful, and it's not something that I think I would stop because of that as well. Now, a little bit perhaps, so this is a little bit about my past of who I am right now. But it wasn't like this initially. I had, as all of you students, gone through exams and also taken national exams. And when I was in primary 5, I think, which is grade 5 in India, I failed my exams and I had to retain. And that came as a big shock for me then. I think I was 11 then. That was a big shock. I was retrenched twice during the financial crisis. And I have a child that was actually born out of wedlock. And I have a partner who many called, I was a sailor's wife, which meant that my husband, my partner, was away from home more than 70% of the time in the year. That meant that I had to manage a very young family on my own. And thank God I had very strong support system with the family, and they helped. And that is what I was. That was what had happened in my growing up years. But right now, as Vishali had mentioned, when I was introduced in my journey, in my corporate career journey, and at the peak of my career, I was actually introduced to Vipassana. Some of you may have heard of that. And that actually took me away for 10 days. And that 10 days of mindful, just being with me, myself, was actually a turning point in my life, because I got to realize that everyone has a choice to make. And I did not know what that would be, but I know that my time alone with my kids would be irreplaceable. So I made a choice then, when I was at the peak of my career, to eject, to stop, and to embark onto this current journey that all of you know and that I have branded myself for. So in 2019, I completed my coaching certifications, and because I wanted to use my time purposefully, but I was actually at the loss to what to do. But I knew I wanted to help, and I didn't quite know how to help. And that's when I chanced upon this sexy new word called coaching, and then the rest is history. So in 2019, I actually took my coaching certifications, and in 2020, when I started, I remember my coach challenged me to complete my professional coaching credentials, which meant 500 coaching hours and 2 recordings. In 2020, during the pandemic, I've completed my coaching hours, and I'm now working. I'm very proud of myself to say that I am working on my recordings now, and I'm on my journey onto being a professional certified coach. So join me as I take you through how I attained to where I am. And in this slide is actually a list of selected clients that I have worked with in my past history. Now, living in the VUCA world, is success even possible, right? Because we hear about it so much, where this word VUCA, right, which was first drawn in 1987, drawing on the leadership theories of Warren Bennis and Bert Noyes to describe the world of being volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, of general conditions. And then that was coined further by the US War College. They introduced the concept of VUCA to us to describe the more volatile, the VUCA world that we are in today. And it's becoming a popular term to describe today's fast changing and information overload world, I would say. Because digitization has speed up the adoption. The pandemic has speed up the adoption of digitization. And for us, it's actually a lot of times information overload, if I can say that. The environment we live in have to operate, unfortunately, at the same speed. As a result, we have to constantly adapt. And companies have to adapt to the products and the services that they offer as well. But how do they? How do they and how do we actually, more importantly, do that? So, in the world of volatility, where the change of speed, it's extremely fast, it's a global situation that we're facing. I mean, just think about it. How many of you today are doing something that you did not a year ago? Before the start of the pandemic, did you order food? I'm not sure if you order food online, but in Singapore, ordering food online or having your groceries sent to your home, things like this were unheard of, almost not even thought of before. But because consumers had to constantly, companies had to constantly adapt and had to make sure that they had to supply because they were the essential services, right? And with the complexity of the environment right now, who would know that in a banking app, for example, you can actually look at your dashboard and be able to track where your expenses were in the last few months. And depending on banks, they can break it down further and tell you, where your expenses were, how many percent of it was spent on transport versus groceries versus entertainment, for example, even. So things like this are constantly happening around us. And of course, we don't know when the pandemic will end. The ambiguity of things, the unclear process, the lack of clarity, and precision or the misunderstanding of a lot of meanings, because we're very fond of using abbreviations, short forms now, as with the word VUCA, right? So then let's go and define what is success. Cambridge defines success as the achieving of the results wanted or hoped for, or something that actually achieves positive results. But what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Well, for me, it means a commitment to success. It means that when I have actually set my eyes on my goal, for example, using my coaching journey as an example, I said that I want to be a coach, and I want to coach because I want to help others see the greatness, because I believe that everyone has a greatness in them. But because of the VUCA world that we are in, it's often clouded. So the situations around us weaken the commitment to success. But it should not be because of the physiological or the social drama, or when you feel, physically weak. The commitment to success should not weaken. It will actually get us across the many lines of barriers in our life as it did, right? The second point is to set clear objectives. What do you want to achieve and why do you want to achieve this? When you've actually set that clear objective, The idea of success is that you're doing a little, the idea of success that if your idea of success is that you're doing a little bit better than your classmate, I don't think that's called success. I think it's actually, sorry, a little bit more sickness than success, because you are happy that your classmate is actually worse off than you. But you're feeling good. You're feeling fulfilled because you're good at what you're doing now. But it doesn't matter, because the most important thing is that the way you're doing it, you're using yourself fully. You're committing yourself fully to what you have set as a goal, and your objective is then very clear. So then what? So what? And what's next? The problem is we're not alone in this world. We're surrounded by people, and we have a fear of being judged. And that was my fear too. When I first started my coaching journey, and I agreed on to take on the challenge, it's like 500 hours? How am I going to get paid? You know, who's going to come and look for me when I am a nobody in the coaching industry? I don't know what to do. But the problem is, the thing is, right, the key thing clearly is that when you allow yourself those voices to come into your head, it overwhelms you. But when you put your blinders on and you have a very clear focus, there's different people that throw the different things to you actually make their mark. But you have to put it positively, because it doesn't matter whether somebody thinks you're worthwhile or not. The most important thing is that you lived that worthwhile to live, and you've lived up to what you can do as the best. Because your teachers, your lecturers, parents, school, society, and the whole world would gather to create these little marks on you. So make something worthwhile of yourself. You know, it doesn't matter, because it's your success. It's no one else's, but it is your success. You may not realize that now, but that's okay, because you're worthwhile. I'd like to share with you then this quote by Winston Churchill, that success is not final, failure is not final, it's the courage to continue that truly counts. Because when we continue on, we actually show it, we show up, not only to ourselves, to the rest of the world, that we are what we do and we mean what we do, right? So now, are you ready to be successful? Is it possible? Let's discover how we can do that using the open framework that I mentioned earlier. Okay, ready? Okay, so what is the open framework? The open framework that I mentioned is really to keep an open mind to ideas, suggestions, and you want to hear what others have to say. You keep a cool head actually when things go wrong. For example, when I was actually going through this journey, just in the third going on fourth quarter last year, I was actually doing my recordings pretty intensively because I was so close to reaching it already. But at that moment, I was offered a training position to be a trainer for a government program on an area which I had no clue of. I took a pause and I plunged in because, number one, they were looking for trainers who would be willing to keep an open mind in learning the new skill, which was on data analytics. But more importantly, they were looking for people with the background, with the open mind to trained to facilitate the programs that are running back to back now, month on month, since the last quarter of last year to date, to train Singaporeans up to be data savvy, to embrace data science, to embrace data thinking. Had I stopped then and said, I'm not quite sure if I'm actually the right person for it, I would not be where I am right now, where I'm actually a full-fledged trainer then with the company. And we are taking on a lot more projects than what we thought we would have. So if I did not keep that open mind, that would not have happened. Now, joy or passion. Find what's your passion. Find what gives you that joy. And of course, E is etiquette, social business etiquette. How do you show up? How do you want others to perceive what you have shown? Or how would you like to show up to that meeting? And the last one is N. Never give up. And that's the resilience, the perseverance, really, of not giving up, of ensuring that things will go through. Now, let me go on to the next slide. And just to elaborate on open-mindedness, because our minds are like parachutes. They function better, actually, when they are open. So using that example, referring back to the example that I shared with you earlier, if I did not keep that open mind, I would not receive that revenue source. Remember, I'm a mompreneur, which means I'm doing things on my own. I don't receive a regular salary. But with that, I actually have income coming in. So if I can close my door, then that income stream would not be there, in addition to what I was doing on coaching, right? So keep your open mind, be observant, be humble, actually, in that process, because that would really serve you in the long run. Be approachable, because nobody will want to approach someone who has a black face in that sense, right? If you're actually Now, this quote by Foster of passion for P. One person with passion is actually better than 40 people who are merely interested. And you can look around the world. Successful entrepreneurs today, Steve Jobs, Microsoft, Bill Gates, they all had a passion. Or even tells us Elon Musk. How many times did he try and fail when he said he wanted to launch his rocket or actually have that fully automated car? How many times was he actually shunned? How many times was he actually then put down by others? But he had a passion. He had a goal. He wanted to achieve. And he knew that that would be something that car, that automated car, that autonomous car will be something that would actually change humanity and the way we are being transported from one point to another. Now, with that, with passion, I like to share with you just 3 E's: to examine, to execute, and to explicitly share. So taking you through my journey, when I say examine, what's your purpose? What's your dream? What's your why? Why do you want to do what you're doing? Because for he who has a why to live, can almost bear any how. How are you going to do it? How are you going to ensure that you finish your 500 hours? How are you going to ensure you get paid clients, and etc. So my why was very strong. Execute, which is really to take action. Believe that you can, and you're almost halfway there. In my speech during the World Speech Day, this was actually the topic, because when you believe that you can, you must learn to not only master the basics. So I started participating in coaching labs, and my confidence grew with each feedback that I received. And I reflected, I refined my skills further, And it's a bit like riding the bike, right? When you're first on the bike, it takes a little bit of time. But after that, once the momentum takes over, you are on the go. But during that period, that first few seconds when you're on the bike, the first few minutes, you're constantly afraid of falls. But once you've gotten the hang of it, the adrenaline rush, the momentum just takes over and you're on the road, right? So halfway makes you go all the way, because it wouldn't make sense for you to U-turn back. Just like when you're out towards a destination, you will not U-turn to go back home because you are already on your destination, right? Explicitly share is the last E that I would like to explain as well. Set a goal. Share it with your friends. Let them help you be your accountability partner. You know, as in coaching, where we say coaches are actually your accountability partner. Get a friend or get a coach, you know, or share it with the world. You know, your classmates, your lecturers, your parents. Tell them what you want to do. Explain to them why you want it. And that's what I did. I started to share the knowledge, not only that I wanted to achieve my PCC, but I started to share the knowledge that I had acquired along my journey, my coaching journey, and the best practices that I had gathered along that journey. And I realized, without me knowing, on hindsight now as I reflect, I had actually inspired a few of my friends along this coaching journey as well. And that was totally, I did not think that would even be possible, right? So people that don't believe they can quit at the first try. People that believe they can wouldn't quit easily. But the thing is, the key here is to take that first baby step, to take that first step forward. Because once you've started, believe me, you will not stop. And you are already halfway there. So what have you got to lose? You have nothing to lose. So start believing that you can from now on, because life is a choice. So what is yours today? I made mine. I chose to wear the hats of a peak performance coach. I chose to be a facilitator, a mentor, a community leader with the Women of Courage Asia, a wife, and I am a mother to 3. And I chose those roles because those are what I am passionate in, and those are what I want to continue doing, right? Now, the last part is actually about etiquette. When I saw this, and I was quite thinking, I want to share this with you because I think in today's VUCA environment, especially in the last year, many people have gone online. Look at us. We're actually streaming live now through Facebook. We're streaming live, online learning, online delivery. It's the new norm. Etiquette is actually about building that trust factor with others. You know, that know, like, trust factor that it's often talked about. How are you showing up? Because business etiquette is the glue that builds and promotes a strong, positive atmosphere. Now, some people say, no, that's actually meant more for the C-suite, you know, your senior management. But that's where you're wrong. Because established business norms as business manners is key to fitting in and being accepted. Because when you show the other party that respect, they will in turn reflect that back to you. Because now it's no longer about that 7 seconds. It's reduced to 3 seconds. Because the minute you show up, in less than 3 seconds, your character is actually being assessed. And this means people will evaluate your ability, the compassion and likability that you have in that 3 seconds. Learning how to interact in that relationship will also help you make that favorable impression, get you that job. Why care? Why do we want to care? Because poor manners would not only cost you that scholarship perhaps that you're looking for, that job opportunity that you're looking for in that international organization of the world. It comes when you navigate generationally across diverse work climates. Now, again, that choice is yours. If you want to create a professional, mutually respectful atmosphere, that choice is yours. So be mindful of how you show up in the meeting, sit, speak, or even articulate, because it's how you show up. Because protocol, good manners, behaviors, and etc., all these are actually part of etiquette. Right? Now let's, I think with the VUCA environment as well, as part of etiquette, dress how you want to be addressed. Yeah, I was teaching in the school, and I remember one of the learners made a comment when we were talking about professional dressing. Why do I have to put on a jacket? And another friend was then joked, it's just like how you would not put on swimming costumes to class. When you're in a business setting, you would then put on professional business attire when you are going next into a business meeting, right? So dress how you want to be addressed, because that actually speaks volume about you as well. Now, the last slide on the open framework is to never give up, right? Like Sylvester Stallone says, going on one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference. Because when you go that one more round, you don't give up and you move on. You go on and you continue pursuing your dreams, and before you know it, you're not only halfway there, you are already there. Because resilient people immediately look at the problem and they say, now, what's the solution to that? What is it trying to teach me? Rather than, oh, forget it. This is so hard. This is so difficult, right? Because like Tony Robbins says, the path to success is to take massive, determined action and not give up. So what is your choice? Do not give up, especially if that is what you want in terms to be successful. Success is also not measured by the dollars that you have in the bank. It's actually measured by the impact that you make. That how many people have you touched? That draws the root, the depth of what success is. It is not measured by the value dollar that's in your bank, right? Now, I'd like to share this book with you, which is The Voices of Courage. It's a motivational quote for women by women. And there is an order form here, so you can scan the QR code. And I like for you to share this. I like to share this book because it's helped motivate. It's being shared across platforms in Singapore. But importantly, the quotes that are in this book, where I was a co-author, actually are quotes that have driven women that have gone through challenges in their life. So real women, yeah? People on the streets, gone through various challenges, and we put our thoughts together with the hope that it would help inspire and motivate another. So with that, then let me go on to the next slide, which is then
Hello?
the Q&A.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, myself Mansha. So I have one question here.
Okay.
Like you said that you have to believe in yourself, right?
Yes.
So when you walk on the street, you see the people that they are always complaining about this and that or everything. It gives us the negative vibes. So what to
Yes.
do to overcome this situation?
So as you said, right, when you see people on the streets, they always give you the negative vibes. But how are you feeling, and how do you most importantly want to feel? We can't control others, but we can control ourselves, yeah? We can control how we want to behave. Now, I'm not asking you to be a joker on the street or a laughing clown to brighten everyone up. No. But I think the question I like to challenge is how would you like to be? Who would you like to be? Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like a successful man.
Mm-hmm. So if you like to be a successful man, then be a successful man. And what does success then look like for you?
It's like a complete package or complete goal for me. If I achieve my, if I am a successful man, then I have to achieve my goal in my life.
Mm-hmm. So when you have achieved your goal in life, what does that look like for you?
It feels like you are on a right direction.
Okay, it feels that's good because it feels that you're on the right direction. It means that feeling of right direction, right? So when you feel that you're in the right direction, what else do you feel when you know that you are in that right direction?
Yeah, you also feel that every person in your life starts pulling your leg, right? Whenever you are on a right direction, you see that people starts pulling your leg.
Why would they pull your leg?
No, I am saying that people starts pulling your leg. That hey, you are not in your right direction, or hey, you are not performing well. So
I know, right? I totally can feel you there. Because when I first started as well, I was like, huh? Seriously? You want to be a coach? Why a coach of all things? And I seriously feel you. But the thing is, you need to ask yourself then, what does um, what does success really mean for you? Right? What is your why? Why do you want to be successful? And when you say you feel right, what does it actually mean for you? So we can actually connect offline. You can scan the QR code and we can connect offline. But I think that calls for an entire coaching conversation. But what I like to leave with you is really when you look at that, and it's I feel you because when I first started on that journey, on my journey, when I left corporate, right, friends around me got a shock and it's like, why are you leaving that high paying, high profile job, in such a good company with servicing the majors of the world, and then to be a stay-home mom, and then after that to be a mompreneur, and then to be a coach. You're totally embarking onto something that you've not even tried remotely before. So I had all these questions thrown at me, but my why was very strong. That is, I knew I wanted to be home for my children in their growing up, their formative years. But I also know that I wanted to use my time purposefully And that's when I started exploring. And then when I found out about coaching, it was a magnet. And the magnet was an addiction, right? That until today, it's not something that I think I can never let go anymore. But the point is, you need to know what is your why, and you need to then stay focused onto, you need to find what's that why. And I'll be, again, as I mentioned, I'll be happy to bring this offline with you, because I understand we have a limited time online, to help you discover, why do you want to do what you want to do, and what does actually feeling right then mean for you, right? And how do you know then that you are in that correct direction? Even, what are your checkpoints that you can have? Yeah.
Okay, so when it feels that you are happy, so that might be your successful point.
Oh, yes. Because you see, the thing is, when you're doing something that's of your passion and that you're happy in doing, it doesn't feel like work anymore. And you're just on that constant move, and you don't feel tired. It doesn't feel like work. And that's the best part about it. When once you've found what you're passionate about doing, for me, it just feels like a conversation. But the beauty of it is, when you are a coach, when I am a coach, putting on my coach hat, even though for me it's like a conversation, the training I've had and that conversation journey that I take my client through, that end result for them, it's not a conversation. It actually drives them towards that outcome. And that glow that you see on their face, right? That aha moment that they achieve. It's almost like instant gratification, It's not something that money can buy, and it's something that just rewards me. And that is good. That is what I need to fuel my soul. But of course, I need to eat as well. I need to sustain myself, so the income helps. But the key thing here is that why, that purpose is strong for me. So you need to find what's your why, and through it, be it happy, be it just feeling that you are in that right place at that moment. And there's nothing wrong with just feeling right at that moment, and then after that, tomorrow, not being sure of it. That's when you constantly reflect and think, am I on that right direction? And if not, then what are my options? If yes, but I'm not so sure, then what do I do? Because only, when you're comfortable, that's when growth stops. It's only when you are uncomfortable, that's when growth happens. And if I can be honest, this is my first time speaking to your university. So I'm nervous as well. I'm uncomfortable. But the thing is, I've chosen youths as my beneficiaries because I've got kids and because they mean a lot to me. And I want to share my knowledge or the expertise that I've built up in the years that I've been through with the rest of you, because I feel that you have so much potential and so much greatness, but because of all the, can I say, like you say, those people that are pulling your legs around you, sometimes you get distracted. And that's where, you need to put on your blinders again, stay focused, and find out, what do I want? What do I want to do? What do I want to do with my life? It's not actually only about work, right? But it's really what do you want to do with your life? And how can you be successful at the end of the day? Because success, as I mentioned, is not measured by the dollar sign, the dollar value that's in your bank account, but it's really measured by, be it happiness that you mentioned, be it the amount of impact that you've made on another's life, or be it the connections that you've actually made through your years. So I hope I managed to answer your question.
Yeah, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
You're most welcome. Yeah.
Ma'am, I'm having one
Yes.
question.
Uh-huh.
I want to ask that, as you told us earlier, that right now you are also coaching. So, what if that if we ask and we got the training of coaching, is that like it?
I'm sorry. Could you, because you were breaking up earlier, could you repeat your question again, please?
I am asking that are we provided by the training of a coaching?
Are you provided by the training of the coaching? Okay, so I am for Singapore, from what I know, uh, for me, I was sourcing for a coaching provider, and there are many schools out there that offer coaching. So I took my certification through Coaching Changes Lives. That's the name of the company. And their credentials are from the International Coaching Federation out of the US. So it's an internationally recognized body. So if it's being offered as part of your curriculum, if I am understanding your question correctly, I think that's something that you need to check with your school. But for me, myself, I had actually taken it through Coaching Changes Lives. Yeah,
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
no worries.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us your valuable time.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Yes, students, any questions from your side now?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I have one question.
No, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Ma'am, I want to ask you one question.
Please
That,
go ahead.
yeah, suppose a man is standing on a stage, right? He's not in a comfort zone, but the 99% of a public which is not on a stage is in their comfort zone. So how to be overcome that situation?
So your question is for them or for you?
No, for it's for me.
It's for you, yeah? So if you're already in your comfort zone, then what is your question?
Yeah. So my question is how to be more and more uncomfortable in your life, like not based on money, but you have to deal with all the problems in your life.
Yeah? Mm-hmm.
So like you are not in your comfort zone. You
Yes.
are coacher, right? So how to do that? How to start with it?
How
I
to
think
move
it-
your... Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I think his question is how to move out from our comfort zone, right, Man?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
How to
According
move
to
your...
some, yes, some your advice. Can you give some advice to him so that he can be from his comfort zone?
Why do you want to move out of your comfort zone in the first place if you're so I mean,
To be success, to be successful, ma'am. I think.
yeah. So that's the thing, right? If you... Okay, so I think I will go back to, where we talk about what's your... Using the open framework again, right? So why do you want to move out of your comfort zone, right? And if it's to be successful, why do you want to be successful, right? What is your one why? Because like what Elon Musk was saying, what's that single truth that is there in why do you want to be successful? So if I can use myself as an example, my that one why is very clear to me because doing what I'm doing, it gives me the flexibility to manage my home commitments, being with my children, in addition to doing what I'm passionate about. That's coaching, right? To empower others so that they can be at their peak performance, really. But what is your why? Because when I do what I do on a daily basis, it it pushes me sometimes out of my comfort. Actually, not sometimes. A lot of times, I will be lying if I said sometimes, because I give you an example. Like last year, when the Women of Courage Asia was, we had the pandemic, so we meet on a monthly basis, and we couldn't. So I was asked to host their meeting, and it's the first time online with 70 over audience, and we were doing it via Zoom, and so I was totally uncomfortable there. But see, what drove me forward was I knew, number one, the meeting had to go on because we had people who had already signed up, and I was entrusted with that task to be the host for that month for a reason, right? Otherwise, I can just throw the ball away and say, no, you take it, right? Because it's a voluntary platform. But I chose not to. So what I did was I prepared myself. I prepared myself as best as I could. We did a lot of dry runs. We practiced. We did all sorts of safety checks, which I fortunately did not manage to do earlier for this webinar. But you see, the thing is, taking that one step, that baby step, it's all that it takes for you to move out of your comfort zone. Because that little baby step helps you move towards your goal, towards that ultimate success that's at the end of the road. But it's like your 5-year goal, your 10-year goal. But to reach that, you need to start now. You need to start walking that journey right now, today, if you have a very clear purpose, you have a very clear why. Because otherwise, when are you going to start? If you don't, then you'll still be thinking, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then it's still going to be, I want to do this, I want to do that. 5 years later, 10 years later, you know, when you start taking that first step, that's when you start stepping out of your comfort zone. And then that's when your confidence starts growing. And then that's also when people start noticing what you're doing. And then that's also when not only do your confidence grow, but you receive feedback from people who actually care about what you do, about you, to push you through. And I mentioned about the coaching labs that we have within Coaching Changes Lives. So I'm fortunate also to have been coached in my journey, and having that coach as we call an accountability partner, somebody to hold your hand through, to say, you know, it's okay to fall. It's okay that you've got a little bit of a bruise here and there. It's okay to actually not be able to show your presentation, not to be able to see your audience, which I'm totally not used to, but that's not the point here. The point is, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not know 100%, but the thing is to take that first baby step and to just move a little out to be who you want to be. You know, it's not about what your friends are saying or what, you know, your even parents or lecturers or school is saying. It's about who you want to be, because ultimately that would drive you, and that would drive your passion towards who you want to be. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. My question to you was, hello. I was
Yes,
asking that as you right now told us about the baby steps. So, if we are totally prepared about our baby steps and all, but as we go upon to that particular stage where we have to perform it, sometimes it happens that we are fully prepared with the positive mindset and all, but just by that some unknown fear or some that mindset, we got blank at the place where we have to perform. So what to do to overcome it? Because as we know that Now let's take my example. It had happened to me few weeks back that I was at some competition. I had prepared it fully. I was performing in front of the mirror itself so that to get the confidence. But
Right.
as such, I hold the mic. I was like totally blank. What to speak? So what to do to overcome such problems at public?
Mm. So there are a few methods, and in NLP, we call you can use the NLP techniques, engage an NLP coach, um, a practitioner, and help um, anchor an object down for you to give you confidence. But if I put it onto layman terms, for you, it could be a cue card. It could be putting in notes in your PowerPoint presentation. That it could come in so many permutations, right? But the thing is, if you're going in for a competition, just like my son was actually preparing for the World Robotics, and I was asking him, so how do you actually prepare? He's like, because it's done virtually as well, and they send their recording overseas. They just did many recordings. So practice, right? But like you rightly pointed out, what happens if you freeze? Your mind goes blank, and you're like, oh my God, I forgot everything I have to say now. So, so what? You know, you can't be standing there in front of the audience or in front of the judges and like not saying anything. So, what I do personally is before I go into any engagement, I take 5 minutes for myself, right? And I practice, I just focus on my breathing. It might, when I first explained this to some of my friends, when they ask, they're like, what? But trust me, when you start noticing your breathing, it calms your heart rate and it then also then helps you to think because oxygen is flowing into your brain and stimulating your brain cells. So that's what I do personally. In addition, I would also put perhaps pictures or I would put notes into my presentation, keywords, so that they would prompt me on what I have to say. But I think most importantly, before you actually embark onto a competition or onto a presentation, you've done that preparation work. I think it was a momentarily blank because you were probably really nervous. And that's where that blank comes from. So deep breaths, take that few minutes for yourself, have cues around you, clues for you to fall back on, or have keywords even on your slides or on your cue cards if you can bring those with you, something to trigger, because
Okay.
that first baby step is going to be difficult, but once you start walking that small little baby step, the rest will just flow, and you just have to believe in yourself. Tell yourself, I've practiced enough, I've done this, I can do it.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. I think we can end the session now. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time, ma'am. And thank you, students, for joining this session. I would also like the management of our university for supporting and motivating us continuously for this webinar. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure sharing with you today.
Yeah. Thank you. Students, you can leave the session now. Dipsa, Man, and Akanksha. Dipsa,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
thank you, Dipsa. See you, ma'am. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much for your time and for having me today.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.